You should stop.
That's fine.
You should just stop. It's not going to help you in any way.
The news now.
President Obama will meet with Senate Democratic leadership today to discuss his 2012 budget proposal and Republican attempts to force sharp cuts in the current budget. Yesterday, the president denied that he is ignoring the views of his own deficit commission, which said entitlement programs must be slashed.
The notion that it's been shelved, I think, is incorrect. It still provides a framework for a conversation. I mean, part of the challenge here is that this town, let's face it, you guys are pretty impatient. If something doesn't happen today, then the assumption is it's just not going to happen. Right? I mean, I've had this conversation for the last 2 years about every single issue that we've worked on.
Dr. Sachs, even the chairman of his deficit commission, said he ignored the deficit commission. Erskine Bowles.
Again, I think there are a few big things here. Social Security, first of all, that's not the big deal in the deficit. When it comes to quote-unquote entitlements, it's the health care costs that are the big issue.
Medicare, Medicaid.
But basically, the issue is that we have the most expensive health care system in the world because of the private health insurers. Nobody wants to touch them. That is one of the most powerful lobbies in this country. That's number one. Second is our military spending is out of sight. We spend just about what the rest of the world combined spends, and we're in these useless wars. That's a huge part. No one wants to really touch that. And the Republicans want to support things the Pentagon doesn't even want to spend because it's jobs in Boehner's district, it's jobs in each of their districts. That is pork barrel completely. Then the third is...
Hold on, let's stay on 1 and 2.
Absolutely.
If that's the case, and we know that Medicare is the biggest challenge over the next generation. We know that Medicaid's a great challenge. We know that Social Security is a great challenge, and the Pentagon's a great challenge. If that's the case,
Social Security is not such a big deal.
It's
in all
not
of this.
as big of a big
no,
of
but
a deal.
People are they're expecting their retirement pay. We shouldn't go after people that have been contributing all their lives for their retirement.
We're not going after people in their 50s or their 60s, but people in their 40s.
It's just not a big. It's not a big deal in this story. It isn't.
In long-term structural debt, it's part of the story. No. It's not as big as Medicare or Medicaid.
No, it's the health costs that are really the long-term story, and the short-term story is what happened in December, which is that both parties got together and gave away $1 trillion over 2 years by extending the tax cuts against the wishes of the American people. That's the big story. Both parties are phonies completely when it comes to deficit reduction because they are both going after rich campaign contributors by giving them tax cuts and then turning around and saying, oh my God, we have no money. Oh my God, we have no money.
By the way,
that's a game.
By the way, the president's budget erases $1 trillion off the deficit, which, as we said yesterday, is a great thing over the next decade.
Over a decade.
Over the next decade, except for the fact that they gave away that much money.
$1 trillion over 2 years.
Over Christmas.
Exactly.
They gave away $1 trillion.
And against the wishes of the American people. So the other myth of all of this, the myth is that this is somehow in line with what people want. The Republicans keep saying, listen to the people, listen to the people. Yesterday, new polls came out, Pew put out research. Do people want Medicare cut? 12% want Medicare cut. The public doesn't want the way that Ryan's going to do it, that the Republicans want to do it. They're absolutely not listening to what the people want.
You just brought up Paul Ryan.
Wait a second. Yeah. Wait a second. Are you suggesting that we stay away from Medicare?
I'm suggesting that we start by taxing the rich, go back to the December deal.
Won't do it. Come on, Jeffrey.
No, seriously.
Come on, be serious. You know that you cannot tax your way out of this crisis. That is not even, there's no reality in that argument. You know.
No, that's not right. Joe, you can't ask for broad sacrifices when you don't ask for sacrifices of the billionaires. This is the starting point. Do we have any basic fairness in this country at all?
You think that...
And we don't right now because we have a game going on.
Taxes is the first start instead of Medicare?
On the millionaires and the billionaires? Absolutely.
Well, we talked about that.
This is a scam. People know that there's a scam underway, and they want it fixed before you start going after... where did President Obama go after? He went after the poorest places in his budget right now, and he said, I hate to do this. But he gave away hundreds of billions of dollars 2 months ago.
Jeffrey,
and then he goes after the community
the president should have fought harder to allow the tax breaks to expire on billionaires and millionaires. So
exactly.
I'm not fighting that in this sense.
Yeah.
But I will tell you that raising taxes on billionaires and raising taxes on millionaires will not even put a dent in the Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security crisis. It doesn't even begin that way, and you're going to have a hard problem.
Not exactly right, Joe.
You're going to have a hard problem.
Not exactly right.
Moving that 12% number up just by increasing taxes.
Not exactly right. You can get 2 to 3 percentage points of our national income by taxing at the top. We need to start there. You can cut 2 percentage points by cutting the military budget, which is so bloated in these useless wars. You're at 4 percentage points already.
But let's stop for a second with the Pentagon budget. If you look at the growth of entitlement spending, and by that, and I am including Social Security in that, Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, you take that out over 20 years, because by the way, I'm shocked and offended by $1.6 trillion deficits per year. But
so am I.
But you and I both know.
We both agree on that.
That's not going to cripple us. That will not destroy us in the short run. What destroys us is what happens over 10, 20 years.
No, that's right.
And you know that the Pentagon spending, which I say every morning needs to be cut, that becomes a smaller and smaller percentage 10, 15, 20 years out. And Medicare and Medicaid become a much larger issue.
Right. So if we
while I agree with you in the short term that we have to cut Pentagon spending, in the long run, even Pentagon spending soon becomes dwarfed by Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security.
We need to have a sense in the country that this is being done fairly, first of all, not as a game. So far, it's a game. And it's a game because the big lobbies win everything, and the people suffer everything. And people are tired of it.